You see, this is supposed to be a fun, crafty DIY video, but I kept on doing this thing called messing up. So instead of being proud of my work, I'm kind of just astonished that I didn't just set this entire room on fire at this point. It was Whiteday yesterday, apparently. I lose track of the universe. Every year, the Ensemble Star Twitter blesses us with a character holding an envelope. So my big-brained, crafty self went, hey, what if I recreated the envelopes? I did. This video is showing you how I went about it and the process of me doing it. But oh my gosh, this was so annoying. There was glue everywhere. My hands are sticky. Also, you know, normal people, it's like, oh, like just making the envelopes and decorating them. Why didn't you just print out a template? I'm this thing called Extra, and I like to cause myself unnecessary stress. So I literally made these patterns all by myself, and I regret it because now I also forgot to mention it, but the little card measurement thingy I used because I was lazy and I don't know how to use a ruler. My thingies are whatever that says, because I don't understand how metric system, is this the metric system? Whatever. America's weird. Figure it out. That's how large everything is. I'm just agitated. Okay, video. The things you will need for this craft are some paper, and a pencil, an eraser, some glue, some sticky things or tape, a ruler, and whatever else you want to use to decorate your envelopes. So my first attempt at making the envelopes was a huge fail. So as you can see, I started by folding around and tracing the card inside the paper. And I thought it would be a good idea. However, I forgot I have a bad case of can't draw straight line syndrome, especially with a ruler. So all of my templates that I made ended up being extremely crooked. So I wasted an entire hour making those templates for nothing, and I wasted 4 sheets of watercolor paper. Hee. So my second attempt, I didn't use a pencil at all. I simply took the size thingy that's going to be the size of the cards that I'm going to make, and then I folded the paper accordingly. You see, I folded it to the, the little height of the card, and then you fold it down, and then you fold up the sides of the card, and you fold it down, and then you make the little toppity flap, and each card has a different toppy flap. So I'll mostly be focusing on the tops because, you can see how I made the envelope. Yay. So starting with Valkyrie, because it's the easiest, you do what I'm doing in the video. You take the top and the bottom and you fold them inwards to form a triangle. And then once you've folded both of the sides, you will cut along the triangular shape and you'll be left with a triangle on the top and the bottom. Then you'll fold the bottom triangle towards the center and it'll make more sense when you look at the video. I don't know. And then you take the sides and then you cut the sides at an angle so that they don't get in the way of the bottom and the fronty flap, because if they're in the way, then they're annoying and they block things from folding and looking nice. So for this one, because they're triangles, you don't want to go too far, so mark where the bottom triangle covers them so that you know that you don't go past it, and then there's an ugly little gap when you fold up your envelope, and then when you put your card in, you'd be able to see. So it should look like that. Look at that, so beautiful. And look at me doing my stuff out of order because I'm great. And see, I'm folding the top, and then it'll fold down and it'll be really nice and sweet. Yay! Now the Knights one is almost the same but slightly different. So before you fold the triangles, you want to make an even marking on both sides to where it kind of continues being straight down, because Leo decided to be an edgy cool man and have it do that. So yeah, you fold it and then you cut out the triangular shape and you fold it down and it'll look real cool. Now the switch one is my personal favorite, but this one is slightly different because the side flaps, they can be really tall, and they can also be shorter cut because they don't have to block the center, and the bottom you're going to keep it a rectangle. And because the top is a little trapezoid, I wanted both sides to be equal, but I don't have a protractor, so I just cut out a triangle and I traced the triangle onto both sides of the envelope top so that they would be equal and I wouldn't scream every time I looked at it. So you trace that, and then you cut it out, and then you fold it down, and then it's the switch envelope. Coolio! Now for the Rusei tie one, you keep the bottom the same as the switch, but the opening flappy thingy is a little half circle. So I made a little template that I was going to trace onto the envelope, but I ended up ignoring it completely and just freehanded the entire top. So that's why it's so jagged and out of sync, but at this point I really didn't care. So now I'm decorating the opening flap thingy. For the Valkyrie one, I used a marker to draw the little outliney. For the Knights one, because it's just a little black line, I just drew a black line with a pen. Did the same thing for Whiteday, and I also colored the switch one with a dead marker, so everything is all messy and I'm sad. And you know, that technically I finished, but you know, I found some paper that I bought a couple years ago on impulse, and these envelopes just weren't as fancy as I needed them to be. So I did a coolio thingy where I put paper on the inside of the envelope. And what you do is you trace the shape of the envelope onto the paper, and then you draw smaller so that it'll fit in the envelope. And then there's like cool paper inside of the envelope, and it looks really cool. The only problem is that I use too much glue, so it all what's that thing, bubbling up, tapered? You know that thing watercolor paper does when you like put water on it? It did that. So I had to put them under a book, so I don't have like an image of the paper like in all of the envelopes. So just use your imagination. While my envelopes are drying under my history book, I used some Canson mixed media sketchbook watercolor paper. I don't know how to speak English. So I decided to be big brained and rip out 3 pages at once, and this happened. Oh. Oof, I broke it. I really broke it. I decided to sketch out what I wanted my cards to look like. I took the mixed media paper and I cut them out. And I did all of it off screen because, once again, I am big dumb. So now I just started decorating the different cards. So I actually took some watercolor paper and wrapped it around in the, the special paper that I bought impulsively. I wanted it to be sturdy because the decorative paper is too thin by itself. And then I had this little cherry blossom hole puncher that I had, and there's no reason for it to be there. I just wanted to use it. I did that, spent too long trying to figure out where I wanted the flower to be, and then I glued it in place. And then for the switch card, I did basically the same thing but with a different hole punch thingy, and I just glued it on, and then you can like write a nice message on the white, but I didn't do that because I really liked the way it looked and I didn't want to ruin it. So I forgot to film the Valkyrie card, but I did film the Knights one, and my intentions with this card was to be, if you don't have fancy paper that you bought impulsively 2 years ago, you can draw one. This is supposed to be encouraging. You can see I gave up pretty early on, but you know what? This is just, you can just draw it yourself. You don't need to buy fancy paper from Michael's impulsively to decorate your cards. You have hands. Unless you don't have hands, then I'm sorry. But yeah, DIY, do it yourself.
But don't forget to write a sweet message to your sweetheart on, the lovely day of the loving of your sweethearts. Yeah.
So now this is supposed to be a montage of me putting the cards into the envelopes. But as you can see, I just suck at everything. So not only did it take me too many times to try to get the stupid cards into the envelopes, I broke 2 of them trying to get the cards into the envelopes. So it's not my day. I have no idea what I was doing with this card. So now that all of the envelopes and cards have been assembled, it is time to have the little sticky whatever stickers that go to keep them closed. Now, I just happen to have these multi-purpose labels because I have a problem and I just buy things impulsively. But if you don't have those, you can just tape pieces of paper of the things that you draw onto the card and then it'll be quiet. Or you can just put tape and the card will be quiet. And then I proceed to struggle to draw a thunderbolt for 5 minutes because my brain just can't draw what I see. I drew the rest of the stickers off camera, but now this is just me putting all of them together, and they actually turned out kind of close to the images. At least the switch one is the most closey looking one. The Valkyrie one, I gave up with the rose, and Whiteday, the gold sparkles all over me, and I just gave up with Knights because I am not drawing a stupid horse chess piece that tiny. So this is all the envelopes completed. Too many hours of my life was invested, and I hope you like them. Adios, yeehaw.